Hello. Okay, so here's an interesting thing. Um, Dr. David Marlin has just posted the results of a survey of horse owners on COVID-19. And I quickly scanned through the results, and one thing that really popped out for me was where he said that the majority of horse owners weren't concerned about their horses being kept in. And that immediately rang huge alarm bells for me. So I kind of highlighted that point and shared it on my page and said, wow, this was kind of shocking. But quite quickly, a number of people responded back and said, that's not how I interpreted the question. I responded that I wasn't concerned about it because I knew that my horse wouldn't be stabled. So I thought that's actually really interesting, and it's a really highlights confirmation bias. So clearly, I was completely affected by confirmation bias on reading that. I took from it what I wanted, not what I wanted, what I expected, I guess, to see, and allowed it to back up my preconceived ideas, which is effectively what confirmation bias is. So with confirmation bias, you can be given all sorts of evidence to the contrary, but you'll pick out the thing that backs up your viewpoint. And I just thought this is a really good example showing how this can really easily happen and that we all need to be really cognizant of it. So it goes along a lot with, what I've talked before in some of my written posts about the difficulties that people have with change, and how, we as humans are often not comfortable with change, and that there's many, many reasons for this. But as part of that, we can have someone that's giving us really great experiential evidence of why something will work, and lots of evidence as to why making a particular change would be really good. So, from my point of view, I'm always looking at trying to get people to look at horses as horses and understand that, the best way to get the most from your horse and to get the most for your horse is to recognize his innate needs and behaviors, and to kind of treat him as such, and try to recognize that in everything that we do with him. But if you're someone that comes from a really different traditional background and that does things very, very differently to that, you're not going to pick up on those things, and you're only ever going to pick up on the things that back up your opinion. So, when we look at shoes, I did a little video recently about the fact that people often think that you can't ride a horse on the roads, or at least not do a lot of road work with a horse, if it hasn't got shoes on. And a lot of people who have shod horses that are really convinced of that opinion, it doesn't matter what I say or how many examples I and others show. They're just not gonna go along with it because it doesn't align with their views and their beliefs and their kind of view of the world. So yeah, I just thought it was really interesting, and I thought it was worth doing a little video on it. As you can tell by the fact that I'm perhaps not being incredibly coherent in this, I didn't really kind of pre-plan this video before I did it, but yeah, kind of it was there in my mind, and I wanted to share a few thoughts. So yeah, just be really conscious when you're reading something. Are you taking the context in the way that it was intended, or are you applying confirmation bias to the context and actually coming up with a completely different perspective? Food for thought.